What's up, Shadow Squad? This is the Shadowhunters after show here on AfterBuzz TV. I have taken over. I have kicked out Sam. I have kicked out Dakota. It's just me talking City of Glass. Stick around.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back. That's right. I wasn't kidding. It's just me here all alone in the studio, but I have got the live chat going right now. So if there is anyone in the live chat, this is us. It's just us having a conversation today about season 3, episode 20, City of Glass. I'm giving a shout out already to Daryl and to Sarah. I saw
our founder Keven Undergaro and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup.
We have
Buzz you later.
Jordan stole the cure for Maya.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
They're talking about their future. I was so bored by the Jordan and Maya storyline. I really am not having it. So when he died, I was kind of really okay. I was ready. And yes, I will say the performance by, I forget her name, the actress who played Maya. I'm sure someone in the chat's gonna be like, it was clearly this lady. Look, she was great and I felt her emotion. I just didn't care about Jordan. So let me know in the chat if you're with me or if I'm heartless, because that's also a possibility. I really appreciated, Luke's storyline tying back in. I think we talked about on the after show here how it hasn't been really tied in, and I'm glad that it is now that we have him working for the Praetor and that they are like, here's what's happening. They straight up say to him, we've been monitoring our former Praetor. He is something that we need that can change the nature of the entire downworld. It took me until the second watch to understand they're talking about the stuff that he stole and gave to Maya. I know I'm a little bit slow. We have people in the chat discussing it. Sarah says Jordan dies in the books, but it was Sebastian/Jonathan that killed him when he attacked the werewolves. Ooh. Rosalind is sad when he died in the books and was sad when he died here. I love this. Yes, Alicia. Thank you, Rihanna. Alicia, who plays Maya. Really amazing performance. And I really liked it. And Sarah agrees that Jordan Kyle is a bit harder to connect to as a character. I agree. I think that it's, he's not for me. He's not for me. I liked him at first, but he's not for me. And Rihanna says, I actually think that the Jaya storyline in this week was better than it has been. I disagree. I disagree that it was better. I mean, it wrapped it all up. I just feel like it didn't need to be. And Maya now didn't take the cure. She gave it to Luke. He says that it's done. He calls him and tells him it's done. Maya says, no one should have this much power. No one should have this power. And he's like, you're right. I'll take care of it. But you're giving it to people. You can't be like, no one should have this power. I mean, I'm going to take it and give it to people. But no, you're right. Ridiculous, Luke. Ridiculous. Rosalind says maybe Luke should take it so that no one can have the cure. I agree. And Rihanna asks a very important question. How did the Praetor know about the serum? Maybe we are all putting it together and thinking it's the thing. No, because he says it's done. No, somehow they know. I'm going with that. Somehow. December says the way that he died reminded me of the last song, which was very sad. Do you mean the last song? Is that the one with Miley Cyrus? I'm asking Steph in the booth. The last song. Who's that?
I think that's the one with Mandy Moore. No. Yeah, no. Last song. I'm wrong. You're right.
Are you Googling it or are you guessing?
I'm guessing.
Google it.
Last song. I have access to Google. You are right.
I'm asking you for information.
You got it, babe.
Thank you.
Yes, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth.
Is that the one where The Climb is from?
Yes, it is. I do know that for fact.
I definitely was like, isn't that movie called The Climb? My bad. Okay, yes. Boom. Killing it with my movies. Yeah, guys. All right. Another ship. Let's move on. Sizzy. We're going to talk a lot about what happened with Simon and with Izzy, but I want to talk about the ship itself of Sizzy. They almost had another moment. It was another almost moment where she saves his life. Also, we had a little shirtless Sizzy. You know what I really love? I love that Izzy is such a like sexy character at all times that when she's literally standing there in a bra and pants, her bra is like a sports bra and it's still incredibly sexy. So I think that's like something that really talks about how amazing this character is, that she can be so like empowered, that she doesn't have to wear like lingerie for that sexual power to come off her. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Rosalind says, I so wanted that kiss to happen. I literally shouted, no, please kiss. That's great. I definitely was doing that. Everyone's telling me that The Climb debuted on Hannah Montana and was not from that movie. That's my bad. My bad. Sarah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, look, I trust them. They do. I definitely thought the song was created for the movie, but off topic. Sarah in the chat says another Sizzy kiss fake out face palm. I agree. Rihanna says, I'm so sick of the constant Sizzy blocking. Sizzy blocking. I love it. I think, look, we all know that the show wasn't supposed to end and this was supposed to be a season finale. So the fact that there was a Sizzy fake out or Sizzy blocking, we know that that's because they wanted to build it, and they've built it. That tension is so built. I am so here for it. They really won me over. And you all know that I was like hesitant. So I'm really impressed. G1X writer says she was also pulling shrapnel out of her torso. I liked it. I'm going to be honest. I liked it. So good. All right, let's talk about the main storyline. I know you want to talk about Magnus. We'll get there. The main storyline of this episode, or one could say the season or the entire series, Jonathan. So Jonathan and Clary have the Sealy Queen. I'm asking the chat, anyone watching, who shipped Jonathan and the Sealy Queen? When he was like, I wasn't flirting. And she's like, I was. Yes, all about it. I shipped them so hard. And the way that things went out where nothing happened made me real sad. Real sad. Okay, chat, tell me how you're feeling about this Sealy Queen Jonathan ship and what the ship name would be. Because Sealithin, I don't think is the right one. Dark Clary is not playing around. She slaps the Sealy Queen. She says, we are one. And then we have this moment where we were all real unhappy in the trailer. And then Kat McNamara, I don't know if you saw on social this week, released a longer footage of this clip to like fix it. They're air quotes for the audio listeners. It didn't fix anything. Jonathan leans in for a kiss with his sister. Thank you. Perfect timing. And she's like, I love you. You'll always be my brother. I appreciate that she's kindly explaining to him that that's not a thing. Go F the Sealy Queen. That's what I want. All right, let's see how everybody's doing with the Sealy and Jonathan conversation in the chat. Oh, interesting. People are telling me that the Sealy Queen and Jonathan were a ship in the book. Sarah says in the books they were a thing. Natasha agrees that she also shipped them. If they had a fourth season, they probably would go there. Really? I used to complain that I liked the younger Sealy Queen, but now that we have the adult Sealy Queen, I'm all about Sealy and Jonathan. And let's see. Oh, there was a good one. The Sealy Queen, Rihanna says the Sealy Queen probably flirts with everyone. I get it. I get it, Sealy Queen. You and I are very similar. Eleanor says, in the books, they have a kid together. In the books, they have a kid? December says Sebastian and Sealy Queen are a thing in the books? What? Is there a ship name? Am I wrong? Is there a ship name for this? This is amazing. Oh, Jonalee, says Michael. Thank you. Sealistern, says Rosalind. These are real hard hard ship names. Frenemies with benefits, says Sarah. I like it. Rosalind says the Seelys have been known for changing sides. I wanted that conversation, which was very short and a very small part of this episode, I wanted that to be so much more than it was. I was very interested in where that was going, especially because I think that would have been fun for Clary to be like, no, like that is good. This is bad. You kissing me? No, you're my brother. You kissing Seelie Queen? Yes, you are not related. That would have been great. Why did that not happen? That's upsetting. I'm upset. All right. Okay, so we're trading for the sword. Meliorn comes to the Institute. I really appreciated the reminder that Seelies can't lie, and that to double cross would go against their nature. Because as you may have heard, I'm a fan of this idea that they can't lie, therefore they're super manipulative to get to lie. So I like that they can't double cross, but they can manipulate the situation. For example, they let our team know that they are forgetful and there are ways in to ambush this trade. Okay, so we go to the trade. Jace and Izzy and Alec come and are trying to separate Jonathan and Clary. Simon, of course, has to show up. I like that he was there and that Clary was upset that he was there. I like that she said, you know, how could you use my best friend against me? And he was like, no, this is your choice. If you kill me, this is your choice. You are deciding to do this. And it made me wonder if, because we've seen that Jace is able to break her, or previously was able to like break her out of her dark trance. It would be super interesting if Simon, as her best friend, Simon, who I guess was raised with her, and I would say is kind of more like a relative than Jonathan, because at least he knows her. And yes, we're putting aside the fact that they slept together. I think that would have been really special if he could also kind of bring her back a little bit. I would have really liked that. It's a minor thing. Sarah Baker in the chat says in the books, Meliorn is half and half and he can lie. Haha, look at that. Ridiculous. Okay, so we separate Clary and Jonathan. Jace stabs her. So was it just me, or did it seem like the sword should have been through her? It was kind of like those fake things where the fake knives where you push it and like there's a spring and it bounces in. It was like that, because it felt like it was halfway into her chest, and the girl's small. The rest of it would have been out the other side. So it was very interesting that when he stopped, the whole sword was there again, and it just cut her a little bit and removed the mark to separate them. So we there's a very interesting question in the chat about Jonathan punching his V card, and I don't know the answer. Yeah, everyone's saying Sarah Baker says that Dom accidentally stabbed himself instead of Kat in one of the shoots in one shot, and Daryl agrees Gloria should have went through the Weyer shoulder. Interesting. So they're separated, and what we discover as they separate is Jonathan seems to be more powerful. Being bound to Clary was holding him back, and now he's more powerful. Oh, and he does a Thor thing, right? He like goes for the sword, and it flies at him like Thor. I was very, very impressed. And then he flees to free the demons. Okay, so we then have this moment with Glorious. It explodes. New Glorious 2.0. It explodes, and Izzy saves Simon's life again. I'm telling you, they're meant to be. And she gets with the shrapnel in her. We then have to get that taken out of her back. But we're in the apartment, and now that Clary knows how to move it, she relocates it, and they're in Alicante. And Jonathan shows up, opens hell, or Edom, and lets the demons in. Here's the part, you're all gonna have to calm me down. Here's where I got real mad at this show. Through we're season 3, episode 20. Our Shadowhunters fight with swords, with magical whips, with, what are they called? The 2 daggers that Clary has, a bow and arrow. We're fighting with old weapons. We're in Alicante, and there are cannons, which are guns. They have guns to shoot the demons out of the sky, and yet our Shadowhunters on the ground are using swords. It feels irresponsible of the Institute to do something like this. So take it to the chat and calm me down. While you do that, everyone is agreeing that the Glorious went all the way through, but they only had the helm of the sword. The rest was put on later. The sword did go through. And yes, so when Jonathan is released, when they're separated, yes, he, according to I'll show you in the chat, the wings, he went from a Nephilim to a fallen angel, a full fallen angel. So let's see. December says the cannons were like the worst thing. Daryl says in the books they didn't have cannons. They should have sword guns. Yes! G1X Rider 13. I agree. Gun swords would be super cool. Oh, Erica says runes interfere with guns. And Sarah Becky says the books were no tech, no phones, no guns. So interesting. Yeah, I just got very annoyed that you get us to this place and there are guns, and we have 3 seasons of them fighting with swords. It's like silly. Okay. So demons are everywhere. Clary tries to talk Jonathan down. Clary says, I know the love you felt and the love that you feel is real. You told me you wanted to be better. You wanted to be good, please. And this moment, I was like, yes, this is the conversation you should have been having with him from the beginning. When he said he wants to be better, he wants to be a good person, that's where you should have started. And when he was saying earlier before he tried to kiss her that he's waiting, he's not sure if she's really on his side because the last few times you deceived him. And I think that he's been miscommunicated with. That's the whole issue. Jonathan's mad because of miscommunications and no one's fixing it. So silly. G1X Rider 13 says Clary should be blasting demons with her angel light more. I kind of agree. Michael B says they have high-tech headquarters, but their homeland is old school. That kind of throws me off. Sorry, typos. Anyway, I agree. I think it's very weird because when we go to the Institute, right, they have these very high-tech computers, and yet their weaponry is very low-tech. It's weird. Erica says tech and guns don't work in the shadow world. All the magic interferes with those things. Okay, but there's Alicante has guns. Anyway, not the point. Jonathan doesn't take Clary's offer to be better. He destroys the sword. He says, it doesn't matter what I do, you'll never love me back. Really quick shout out, because I didn't do it in the earlier part. Eileen or Elaine, or I think it's Eileen and Helen. It was like 3 sentences, and I'm all about it, especially because I was very much against Eileen as a person, but I think Helen's good for her, and I ship this, and I'm very, very happy with it. It was a very quick moment, and I appreciate it. And if you've been on socials, there are very cute videos from each of the actresses about this couple and scenes we may not have gotten. So all about it. Okay, let's talk about Malik. So this is a couple we're all very excited about because everyone loves them, and we got them back together this episode. Not just back together, they essentially got married. We'll get there. All right, so Asmodeus is trying to play daddy by buying pretzels. Different kind of daddy, I'd be all about it. This kind of daddy, less so. He helps Magnus get his apartment back with bloodlines and stupid arguments, Asmodeus. And it's Maris who figures it out, everybody. Everyone's so excited that Maris put them back together because she figured out what was happening. She goes to, Alex says that he had to break up with Magnus. It's the only way he could ever become whole again. So she goes to Magnus to see him and is like, wait a second, you have powers. When did this happen? What did I say last week, everybody? How angry was I that Magnus couldn't put it together himself? But Maris does. Also, it seems a little weird. I'm going to say this. Maris was talking to Alec and she says, I haven't seen him since Halloween. You know how much we love him. And I want to throw back, because we all know I'm a grudge holder. Maris used to not like him. Remember, she didn't like the fact that Alec was with Magnus. So somebody calm me down and remind me where she switched over to being like, we love him, you guys are perfect together. Because I'm mad still. So she tells Magnus, figure it out, dummy. That was me censoring things. Billie Jean Girl in the chat says, best mom ever. Kenya says, Maris is our hero. Yeah. So funny. Erica agrees. I was very disappointed that Magnus couldn't put those two things together. Everyone's happy. Yeah, they made up ages ago. I don't care. It's still rude. Okay, so Magnus is like, oh, this makes sense now. Sends Daddy into portal limbo forever. Thank you. I appreciated that. Okay, so he swoops in to Alicante to save the day, and then we have this real quick, really beautiful wedding-ish. I don't know if that's the official, their wedding ceremony. I don't think so. I think we're going to get a full one, but that's a hold for predictions. And he's like, listen, I can close this rift. I have to increase my power, but I have to go to Edom to do it. They kiss, and then he leaves. Beautiful. All right. Alsha says the dinner party where she was de-ruined was when she turned her around. Fine. Okay. Yes. So they're back together, except that Magnus is now off in Edom. Eileen and Helen are a thing. All about it. Sizzy. We're getting Sizzy blocked here. Maya and Jordan. Sorry, Jordan's dead. Luke and Maris seem to be on and off, hot and cold. We'll figure that out. Clary and Jace are back together. Jonathan and the Sealy Queen aren't happening, which is really disappointing. Am I missing any ships? Yeah, that's true. Rosalind says Alex said he had a wedding to plan. So they're not married. They're just engaged? I guess technically they're engaged. Sounds good. Oh, Daryl, that's called the engagement yell. Thanks. I don't know how things work. Great. Okay. Let's head into the badass stunt of the week. I have 3 because, well, my co-hosts aren't here. So I really loved Clary and Izzy fighting each other. I thought it was very cool. I also liked the words that they were saying to each other. I liked that Clary was like, I don't know if I should be offended or honored. And Izzy was like, you're getting good. Also, the moment that their flaming swords hit each other was very cool. We had flaming sword versus flaming sword. So that's one of my badass stunts of the week. I also really loved when Jonathan's being freed from Clary and he's got the wings and he Thors the sword. Thor is now a verb. Yes. And then after the sword explodes and it's raining gold, that was super cool. Really enjoyed both of those. Do we have any badass stunts of the week in the chat going on? Rihanna says that ending shot of the rift closing was my favorite SFX. Very, very cool. I agree. Daryl agrees their fight was good. I'm assuming he's talking about Izzy and Clary. Oh, so good. So good. Oh, nice. Rihanna says Magnus's glowing whips to hold Asmodeus. That was very cool too. I did appreciate that. It reminded me kind of Wonder Woman's lasso of truth. I liked that. Yeah. All right. So that's the baddest stunt of the week. I have a big announcement to tell you all. I know that I'm here all alone today, which is the opposite of what's going to happen next week, because next week is 2.5 hour series finale of Shadowhunters, which means that we will be having a supersized after show here on AfterBuzz TV. Yes, thank you, live audience. Thank you. It would have been nice had you made sound earlier. But before I get into predictions, I want to tell you something super important. Next week, super sized episode of the after show, which means we're going to have lots of guests. And you're going to start the show and see a couple and be like, a couple is not lots of guests. We will be rotating guests, so I can tell you that we are going to have very cool, amazing people. So please make sure you're here. Also, I should be not alone on this table. Sam and Dakota will both be back. Let's head into predictions.
And now,
where are my lights?
Your AfterBuzz TV.
There it is.
Predictions.
Flashing lights. For those listening to the audio podcast, there are flashing lights. All right. Okay. If you have predictions in the chat, hit me up. Here's what I saw in the trailer and what I took from it. So much happens. It looks like everyone's going to eat him to get Magnus back. That is my assumption. Simon will be training with Jace. I did not catch that until I paused to write down a note and saw that it was Simon's face training with Jace. It also looks like a wedding. I'm going to assume that it's a Malik wedding, but that we can't guarantee. And the little girl witch, whose name I totally forget, is the flower girl. This is, for those watching, this is me doing flower girl. Great. So that's my, what we have. Oh, and then Alex says, this is not the same Jonathan. He's more powerful than ever. That was my Alec voice. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Chat says, when will we be doing the series finale? Our series finale after show will be at the same time as always, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We will be doing our supersized after show. I believe we're doing 2 hours here, Tuesdays, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So 9 o'clock East Coast time. And other times, other places. Okay, so here's what we got. Rihanna thinks it's a Malik wedding. Sarah thinks Luke is becoming human again. Gabby says getting married at the Institute sends 2 different messages. It's okay to be gay and proud. And 2, being in love with someone outside of your people is okay. It might help others. That's true, Gabby. That's a really good point. That if Malik has the wedding at the Institute, it really sends a lot of messages that are wonderful. Billie Jean Girl says, I predict that we will have an official Malik wedding in the series finale. Rihanna says, Downworlder and Shadowhunter Alliance. G1X Rider says, I thought that we were going to get an awesome citywide battle and was disappointed, but we're finally going to eat them, which is what I wanted after the mid-season break. Oh, Madsy is the little girl. Thank you, everybody. Madsy is the flower girl. So you should check that out in the wedding. Alsha says, prediction, everyone will decide they prefer Lorenzo as a lizard. Girl, yes. Done. Lorenzo the lizard, all about it. Iguana. Jonathan dyes his hair. That's true. Jonathan has white hair. Look, I don't mind the way he looks currently. But I also don't mind this white hair thing going on. I like it. This is going to be great. I agree that it was very disappointing that hell broke loose. Demons were on Earth-ish, and then it was done. I agree. That was very small. But if we're all heading to Edom to get Magnus back, I think we'll get some cool fights there, which would be interesting because if you die in Edom, what happens? That's a good question. And I'm sure someone who read the book is going to tell me what the answer is. Sarah says that Lorenzo's going to become himself again. Oh, and that there are 3 Malik sneak peeks. I don't like it. G1X Rider says he gets a job and is the new Geico Gecko. All about it. I love it. This is so great. Sarah says, Karma Chameleon, you guys are really, really funny. I don't like these Lorenzo gets turned back thing. Predictions. Predictions the word I'm looking for? I don't like them. I mean, they're reasonable, but I don't like them. Super exciting. Thank you all so much for joining me on my solo experience talking Shadowhunters. If you want to keep up, thank you. If you want to keep up with Dakota, he is everywhere, I believe, at Mr. Dakota T. Jones. Sam Davidson is everywhere at Sam D43. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. I don't know why I'm shouting. I apologize. We'll see you next week for a supersized Shadowhunters after show with lots of guests right here.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.